We're moving on to the guided practice section of today's lesson, and we are specifically looking at Susie's subtopic 1. We're going to look at how Susie developed subtopic 1 or started developing the body paragraphs for subtopic 1 of her research essay. As you may recall, for subtopic 1 of her research essay, Susie is looking at the impact of technology on bullying. In order to ensure that every paragraph focuses on the topic, the impact of technology on bullying, Susie has decided to create a guiding question for subtopic 1. And her guiding question is, how has technology impacted bullying? Now, she could have also chosen to use a what question for this, because this is not her overall research question. She could have chosen to say, what impact has technology had on bullying? Both questions will guide her to the same answer. Susie must now determine how she will use the information on her cards to answer the question. So she begins by grouping note cards that seem to be making a similar point together. She ends up with 3 groups of cards. Susie decides she will address and prove each point in a separate paragraph. So she will have 3 body paragraphs in subtopic 1. I do want to point out that just because Susie has 3 body paragraphs, it does not mean that you will have 3 body paragraphs for subtopic 1. Maybe you have a ton of information, and therefore your subtopic 1 ends up with 4 or 5 paragraphs. Or maybe you don't have as much information, and your subtopic 1 only ends up with 2 body paragraphs. Or maybe you really didn't research your topic extensively and you only found enough information to make 1 body paragraph. All are acceptable, but I will point out that in order to get a 5 out of 5, in order to exceed expectations, you need to have a minimum of 2 body paragraphs for subtopic 1. Let's practice. Susie's first pile of note cards has 3 cards. She has grouped these cards together because she feels that they are closely related and can be used to prove a point about the impact of technology on bullying. I just want to point out at the top, you see Susie's guiding question for subtopic 1. Her guiding question is, how has technology impacted bullying? So she's going to make sure that every paragraph in subtopic 1 is addressing how technology has impacted bullying. Now, this is going to help with the focus of her essay, because at any point, if she feels herself talking about something that's not related to how technology has impacted bullying, she will know that she's completely off topic and she will exclude that information or that note card. Remember, she is trying to prove a point. She must prove a point in this body paragraph. So here are the 3 note cards that she's come up with. The first one talks about challenges of cyberbullying. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, cyberbullying presents unique challenges, including the evolving nature of technology, the potential for anonymity, and the viral nature of online postings. Here is the parenthetical citation. This came from the article that starts with the word bullying. Her second note card says, a September 2018 Washington Post article entitled "One-third of middle school and high schoolers were bullied last year," study shows, reveals the far-reaching impact of bullying includes physical injuries, social and emotional distress, self-harm, and even death. So she's looking at how technology has impacted bullying. And finally, young people who encounter multiple forms of bullying, including cyberbullying, are often more likely to report emotional problems than victims of traditional bullying. These are also at greater risk of suicide or medical problems related to stress. Now, Susie is going to look at these 3 note cards and decide, am I going to use all 3 in my first body paragraph? Do I only want to use 2, or should I use 3? As you will see on the next slide, Susie does not have to use all of these note cards to prove her point. She can use 1, 2, or all of them. So now Susie will use today's steps to develop her paragraph. As we look at Susie's paragraph, I want you to ask yourself, is her paragraph answering her guiding question? How has technology impacted bullying? Now, based on the steps that we explored today, there are 4 elements that must be included in Susie's first body paragraph. First of all, it must begin with a topic sentence that will be green, and the topic sentence must directly answer the question. Then it has to have researched evidence that proves the topic sentence. After the researched evidence, she must include a parenthetical citation, which shows this is the in-text citation that shows where the information came from. And finally, in pink, we have to see Susie's ideas. How does she connect this research to her point? How does she use the research to make her point and answer the question? These are her ideas in pink. So here is her paragraph. Let's start off with her topic sentence, which is in green. It will answer her question. The impact of bullying on adolescents ranges in severity. However, technology has changed the complexity of the issue in the 21st century. You will notice that Susie uses 2 pieces of information to prove her point, and these are in blue. So she has one piece of information that came from one note card, and the author is McLennan. You see that in the parenthetical citation. And the second blue one comes from the article entitled Bullying. And you see that the parenthetical citation comes immediately after the researched information. After each piece of research information, Susie then provides the analysis. These are her ideas explaining the research. So let's read her paragraph in its entirety. The impact of bullying on adolescents ranges in severity. However, technology has changed the complexity of the issue in the 21st century. A September 2018 Washington Post article entitled "One-third of middle and high schoolers were bullied last year," study shows, reveals that the far-reaching impact of bullying includes physical injuries, social and emotional distress, self-harm, and even death. There is no direct correlation between the form of bullying, whether in person or online, and its impact on the individual. Notwithstanding, the increased use of communication technologies among adolescents has changed the landscape of bullying. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, cyberbullying presents unique challenges, including the evolving nature of technology, the potential for anonymity, and the viral nature of online postings. The internet gives bullies an anonymous, detached platform from which to launch personal attacks. Within seconds, with just the click of a button or a link, a message can be transmitted to a vast audience. While the transmission of the attacking message may be simple, its impact on the victim is not. I want to point out something very important. I want you to notice how many quoted words are in this paragraph. She only has quotation marks around the title of this article, "One-third of middle schoolers and high schoolers were bullied last year," study shows. And she has quotation marks around the words physical injury, social and emotional distress, and self-harm. She did not quote an entire sentence. Most of this is written in her own words, even though it came from the research. And her second piece of information provides a quote that is only 1 sentence long. So most of this paragraph is actually written in Susie's own words. So she can honestly say that this is her essay, her research essay. Please be mindful of this when you are drafting your body paragraphs. No body paragraph should have more of another person's thoughts and ideas than your own. This is your essay. You are using other people's thoughts and ideas to prove a point. So I want to see your analysis. I need to see your pink, your ideas, how you explain the research that you have found. And that brings us to the end of how to write a body paragraph for subtopics. Now, please note that this is only the first body paragraph in Susie's subtopic 1. She's actually going to go on and write her next body paragraph on how technology is impacting bullying.